Hey everyone, I'm going to try to briefly cover some of the issues that we had with our Rupes new cordless polishers. So, as a little background, why do we use cordless? Cords have been a tripping hazard in our shop. They collect dirt and a bunch of other things. At the end of the day, we chose to go cordless, and for a long time we had corded Rupes, and really not a long time. Eventually we switched over to battery operated flex, and so I had a couple PXE 80s and 5 and 6 inch and rotary battery operated and all that, and the flex 5 and 6 inch orbital was a little bit too weak for my opinion, and the PXE 80 though was pretty awesome. So the PXE 80 was awesome. The other flex, I just felt like it was a little weak. It didn't have a lot of correcting power. So Rupes opened up orders for pre-orders for the new hybrid system, the HLR 75, and then the HLR 15 and 21, and then the Nanos hybrid's been around for a while. The HLR 75 has been around longer than the 15 and the 21. So we made the switch, sold all of our flex polishers, bought one Nano, two HLR 75s, that's the 3 inch, two HLR 15s, which is the 5 inch. The HLR 75 is the 3 inch, and the HLR 15 is this 5 inch, two of those, and then one HLR 21, the 6 inch. So the delay, there was a massive delay with the rolling out of the 15 and the 21. And so at a certain point, before I even got the 15 and the 21 in, I decided that I was going to try out the HLR 75. So I'd had it since November, but it just sat in a box until spring or so. So while I was waiting for the 15 and the 21, I busted out the 75s. So the 75s lasted about maybe 2 weeks each. I only opened one at a time. So the first one I think lasted like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and it just stopped working. So for a while what would happen is you would turn it on and then it would shut off. You wouldn't be able to turn it back on with the wheel, with the trigger, nothing. And it had the original trigger that didn't have the little safety. So I filed a warranty claim for that, and then while that was gone, which was only a few weeks total process, I was using my other HLR 75, and then that one did the same exact thing. So this is a known issue with Rupes. The tolerances of the battery terminals within the machine were incorrect or something, and so they weren't making contact well enough. So you used to be able to like pull the battery out and then put it back in, but eventually it just stopped working. So while they were in, they also replaced the trigger with the safety trigger. So I got the two HLR 75s back. Now, I got them back with the upgraded trigger, but the upgraded trigger is actually a downgrade. The original trigger caused problems for people and us too, as we were getting used to it, because if you set it down or bumped it, it would just turn on and fling everything everywhere. So the new safety trigger made it more difficult. You can actually kind of like set it down and it doesn't go off. So we got those HLR 75s in with the safety trigger, and the bar on the trigger that holds the actual safety piece, not the trigger itself, but the end little flap, the bar doesn't stay in there. So the bar started sliding out, which then it goes like kitty wampus or whatever, and it stops working, and it gets stuck, and then you have to turn the power wheel off to get it to turn off, or you have to manually kind of flip the safety switch. So I thought maybe this was a replacement trigger, that maybe they messed up using the wrong parts or something like that. So I reached out, and the warranty process was great, but I was starting to get frustrated because I had again another set of polishers that were running into issues with the safety. So I didn't file a warranty claim yet, but then the power wheel stopped working on one of the two ones that had already been in for replacement, the HLR 75. So the power wheel stopped working on one. The other one started making like a high-pitched whining sound. So besides that, now there was actually another known issue with the battery, not the inside the machine battery terminals that was the original issue, but there's another known issue with the batteries themselves. So we're putting the battery in and out, and like the terminals on the battery, the little silver pieces, actually just fell back into the battery. So 3 out of the 4 batteries were completely unusable. So again, back to Rupes, where I demanded basically that we just replace it with all new tools. So we got 2 new tools on the way, but in the meantime, I'm down 2 tools. So I had to go back, even after I'd already sold the Flex, I then had to go back and buy another PXE 80 because we didn't have a 3-inch anymore because they were both in for warranty repair. Now around the same exact time, both the HLR 15, the 5-inch, and the 21, the 6-inch, both died. This is another known issue. The shaft on the polishers have some sort of like it's out of tolerance or something, and both of them at 2 different times, a couple days apart, just burned. And you could, the 15, I believe it was, you just smelt like this nasty burning wire smell and it stopped working. The 21 actually had like a small puff of smoke, and then the same thing, the battery smell or the wire smell. And so now the 21, the 15, and the 3 inches are back in again. So then we get the 2 3 inches back, and one of them, a guy that works here, he dropped it. So that's on us, you know, he dropped it. But one thing I'll say, and I paid to have it fixed again, but one thing I'll say is it was odd because it was dropped from less than 4 feet, and basically it just snapped in half. It was held together by the rubber that goes along the whole length of the housing, but the polisher itself just easily just cracked in half and basically exploded. Now, first time that's ever happened to us, but you know, we don't abuse our tools. But it's not Rupes' fault, we dropped it. I was a little surprised that it broke so easily though. So then the new polisher, we got one of the other new polishers, so that one went back with the 15 and the 21 for replacement. And then so we're down to basically 115, the Nano, and the 1 HLR 75 that was brand new. And already that trigger, the bar is sliding out again, and the trigger, we had to fix that today. And in addition, it's now making a high-pitched whining sound, which has been confirmed, you know, it doesn't sound right. So that's now probably going back for warranty repair as well. And then in addition, we're using the Rupes polish. We're trying to use the whole system. And you know, one issue that we were pretty consistently having happened on multiple vehicles. We escalated it up to Rupes, and they confirmed it was an issue they were trying to pin down but couldn't solve. And it was, we were polishing a vehicle, we would wipe the polish residue off, and you could look at the vehicle and watch it fog back up or haze back up, and you would wipe it, and it would look like somebody was blowing their, you know, hot air on it, and it was like wipe, you know, never worked. And so it got really frustrating. So we switched back to Sonax products because we never had that issue with Sonax. But that was confirmed in an email from Rupes headquarters as an issue that was known that they were trying to pin down. So this is why, and it sucks because I was always a Rupes guy, and I jumped on the Rupes system, and you know, I bought into all of that, and then at the end of the day, you know, I spent thousands of dollars on polishers, and I'm selling them all. And we're gonna try something else. I'm gonna try the Milwaukee 5-inch, see how it goes, and if so, I'll buy 2 of those and 1 of the 6-inch. And I already ordered new Flex PXE 80s for the 1 and 3-inch. I don't want to deal with this anymore. So people said that I was running some disinformation campaign against Rupes, all this stuff. It's just so untrue. I would love it if they work, but it's been a constant source of hassle for me. So that's why we're switching out.